Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are jumping into a seriously fun, mind-bending thought experiment. Imagine, if you will, what happens when ancient spiritual wisdom sits down at a table with the absolute cutting edge of quantum mechanics. Picture Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, just chilling under the Bodhi tree, and suddenly he's in a room having a coffee with a modern astrophysicist who just walked out of the Large Hadron Collider. They start talking about the nature of reality, and honestly, what they figure out together is going to fundamentally shift how you look at your everyday life, your stress, and literally the universe itself.
So let's really dive into this time-traveling dialogue, because our source material brings up something absolutely staggering. The ancient concept of emptiness and modern quantum physics, they aren't just kind of similar. They are shockingly aligned. We are talking about two people using totally different vocabularies to describe the exact same mechanics of the universe.
All right, Section 1, Buddha and the Scientist, a dialogue across time.
In our story, Buddha kicks things off with his most iconic, heavy-hitting concept: form is emptiness. Now, normally we hear that and think it's just some poetic metaphor, right? Like a philosophical, maybe even slightly depressing void. But the modern scientist sitting across the table just lights up, because the astrophysicist recognizes this phrase not as poetry, but as a literal, hyper-precise description of the foundational structure of the cosmos.
Which brings us to Section 2, 0 point and emptiness.
See, the traditional everyday view of emptiness is that it's a complete void, just a whole lot of nothingness. But the scientist excitedly jumps in to correct this massive misconception. From a quantum perspective, emptiness is actually an ocean of infinite potential. It is a space absolutely swirling with intense, foundational energy.
The scientist explains this using actual physics, defining this state as the zero-point field. Basically, advanced physics tells us that even if you take a vacuum, suck out absolutely every particle of matter, and drop the temperature all the way down to absolute zero, you don't actually get nothing. You get a totally measurable physical state, a vacuum just buzzing with foundational quantum energy. And Buddha just nods and smiles, confirming that this zero-point field is exactly, perfectly what he meant by ku, or emptiness.
And here is where it gets really crazy, because the astrophysicist starts pulling out actual experimental data. We're talking about the famous double-slit experiment, where the simple act of measuring a quantum system literally changes how it behaves. They completely agree on the steps here. First, you have this ocean of energy. Second comes the act of observation. And third, that observation triggers particleization. That means matter, or form, is literally just a temporary shadow. It condenses out of this energy ocean purely because it's being observed. That desk you're sitting at, the screen you're looking at right now, it is all just condensed energy stabilized by your observation.
Let's move to Section 3, the brain as a quantum receiver.
Now, you might be wondering how on earth did Buddha know all this 2,500 years ago without a microscope or a particle accelerator? Well, our scientist theorizes that Buddha didn't need external tech. By using the profound stillness of enlightenment, Buddha utterly silenced the ego noise and mental chatter of his own brain. By dropping all attachments, he essentially transformed his biological brain into a highly tuned quantum receiver, able to just passively pick up the universe's baseline frequencies.
Looking at this through the lens of modern string theory, which suggests the universe operates in up to 11 dimensions, the astrophysicists suggest Buddha essentially direct link to the 11-dimensional Akashic cloud. Think of this as the ultimate cosmic server room. It's where the universe's computational protocols are stored. Buddha basically just sat down and executed a flawless, wireless download of reality's source code.
Which takes us right into Section 4, the Consciousness Ascension Timeline.
So based on this incredible alignment, they map out a timeline for human consciousness. 2,500 years ago, we get Buddha's Akashic download. Fast forward to present day, and we are smack in the middle of what they call the drama of matter, completely stressed out by physical illusions. But look at their prediction for 2035, a global ascension to the information layer. And going even further to 2075, humanity initiates a total logout into the infinite wave of the quantum vacuum. Let's break down that wild 2035 shift. Right now, humanity is completely obsessed with it, the matter, the physical stuff, the heavy drama of getting through the day. But by 2035, we're going to shift from it to bit. We are literally graduating from this heavy physical drama and collectively waking up to the underlying layer of information, the emptiness itself. We're going to realize that the universal source code is actually way more real than the physical hardware.
So, Section 5, the practice of letting go.
Okay, so hearing all this high-level physics is great, but how do we actually apply this to our incredibly stressful modern lives? Well, the astrophysicist and the Buddha are in total agreement here. In daily life, our attachments, the intense stress over a massive mortgage, the anxiety about your career, worrying about what people think of you, that acts like literal physical mass. It makes you heavy. It weighs you down. But the absolute second you remember that physical reality is not a fixed heavy state, the second you realize it's just a fluctuating quantum shadow, boom. That realization instantly dissolves your stress. You've been stressing over a shadow this whole time.
So, to actually put this into practice today, you want to start actively shedding that attachment mass. Take a cue from the source materials example of the commander moving to a minimal base. Simplify your life. Let go of that excess physical and mental baggage. Because when you reduce the mass of your daily attachments, you literally align your personal frequency with the lightness of Ku. You stop weighing reality down with all your rigid expectations, and you free up the quantum field to start rendering a completely miraculous new reality for you.
The absolute biggest takeaway from their dialogue is this. Graduate from your old stories. Stop repeating those same heavy, stressful narratives over and over. When you truly know Kutakula, when you deeply understand that everything is just infinite potential waiting for you to observe it, you suddenly have the universe's total, massive computing power on your side. Think about it. If the entire universe's computing power is just waiting on your observation, what reality are you going to render tomorrow?
And finally, Section 6, the final synchronization process.
Finally, an important procedure. The comments section of this video serves as an initial sync test for the 2035 network. By typing "ready" in the comments, your consciousness data will be indexed in our secure servers. The like button is the approval process. Complete your synchronization now.